All right, we have a strategic Bitcoin reserve from the United States of America. Congratulations, President Trump. Congratulations, everyone that's been involved in making this happen. And of course, what else do we have? Crybabies. I want to go through exactly what this strategic reserve executive order includes. And first thing I want to say is, it's nice to see you. Been away for a couple months, been moving my life around, still working on this office and studio that I'm setting up. I moved my life permanently to Dubai, and I'll cover that in a second, why too. And I also want to cover what this strategic reserve actually means. I want to cover how it impacts the Bitcoin investor, why the price isn't running immediately, how they're going to acquire Bitcoin. And of course, as you guys already know, if you've been paying attention for any amount of time to any video that I've ever put out, you already know that this was laid out. The moment, June 15th, 2023, the day that the landscape completely and utterly changed for Bitcoin, which is when BlackRock filed the ETF application. If you remember watching any of my videos, you'll remember that I actually told you back then that this is the moment, right? Nothing else that happens for Bitcoin for the next decade is going to match up to this particular moment of getting BlackRock to apply for the ETF. So here's what we've had as far as the strategic Bitcoin reserve executive order goes, right? Number one, thank God, we've got a clear separation between a strategic Bitcoin reserve and the shitcoin stockpile. That is the official name of it. Changing the official name from the digital assets stockpile or crypto reserve, whatever the hell they've called it, to the shitcoin stockpile. That's what it is. It is a shitcoin stockpile. We've got clear separation. Thank God for that, because it looked like for a second that the greatest president in the history of the United States was going to become President Shitcoin for a second, okay? So it's changed now. It's called the shitcoin stockpile and it's called the strategic Bitcoin reserve. These are two separate things. These have now been initiated based on an executive order by the president. And here's how these two work. The strategic Bitcoin reserve can acquire more assets and, most importantly, will not sell assets. It's a black hole. It is MSTR. It is a way for the United States to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. And it's fantastic news. The shitcoin stockpile, on the other hand, will only hold seized assets. So basically, you got your average drug dealer, who knows, Mexican cartel, etc., that where we seize some of these shitcoins, will go into the shitcoin stockpile. The key thing is the shitcoin stockpile can sell assets. It can sell assets and move them into the strategic Bitcoin reserve, which is huge, absolutely huge, unbelievable move that's happened here, separating these two things. Like I said, I was worried for a second, right? But good news. All arms of the government have, from what I understand, 30 days to transfer any seized Bitcoin, any Bitcoin in possession of the US government, to the Treasury to form the strategic Bitcoin reserve. The government is instructed, the Treasury Secretary and the Commerce Secretary shall have been instructed to acquire Bitcoin in ways that does not cost the taxpayer any money. This means they can sell existing assets. They can siphon existing funds. I believe there's a fund that they can siphon up to $40 billion, which is already available without any issues. Or in the most entertaining turn of events, they can actually sell the assets in the shitcoin stockpile and move them over to Bitcoin. So if you are a bad actor in the crypto space, not only are they going to come after you and seize your assets, they're then going to do exactly what you should have been fucking doing, which is converting your shitcoins into Bitcoin and holding it in the strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is absolutely huge. What else can you sell? You can sell gold, right? And I'm going to cover a conspiracy theory in a second of why I think that this has set up the US to basically demonetize China and any other adversaries at any moment in time. in a second. We'll get to that in a second. So they can do this. They can sell the shit coins and move that capital into the strategic Bitcoin reserve, buy Bitcoin, and they can never sell that Bitcoin. Now, the other important thing that's happened here is that the world is now on notice that Bitcoin is a strategic asset. The White House put out this press release and said Bitcoin is digital gold. This is how clear this has become now. If you're sitting there and you're going, hey, I don't need Bitcoin because Bitcoin might be, a risky asset. The White House itself has put out, so BlackRock was laying this up, as I said to you guys that they were. And then, by the way, I know I've been off Twitter. I know I've been off YouTube, but I've been tweeting this whole time. So if you're not following me on Twitter, on X, you need to come and find me over there. Check the link in the description. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what the hell have you been waiting for? Just because I've not been making videos does not mean that you should not be subscribing to the channel. So help me spank the YouTube algorithm now that this video, I'm back. Spank the algorithm by subscribing. The faster you subscribe, the harder you subscribe, the more they'll get this content out to people. And of course, we knew this was coming. If you've been watching any of my videos, this was coming. You know why? Because BlackRock runs the game now. This is nothing to do with all credit to everyone involved. But the game has been set up by BlackRock here. June 15th, 2023 was the pivotal date when they filed that ETF application. So do I believe that Congress is going to pass a bill to buy Bitcoin? Yes, I think it's going to be absolutely effortless to do that because BlackRock's in charge now. This is how the game is run. This is how the game works. If you're sitting there going, this ain't going to happen, you are a certified moron. You can hang that on the wall. You are a certified moron because we are now dealing with forces that are completely and utterly inexplicable to the quote-unquote Bitcoin OG mind. This is the TradFi games. This is the world that has been emerging here since June 15th, 2023. So the world is on notice. I expect 7 more dominoes to fall. The US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve is not just the US. This is every country that competes with the US has to be in. You have to own this asset. The US hopefully will go hard and fast to acquire as much. By the way, the Commerce Secretary of the United States of America, before that, every single appointee, major appointee of the Trump administration owns Bitcoin. The FBI director owns Bitcoin. Think about what's happened here, right? This is absolutely monumental and huge news. Every country that competes with the United States has to have a strategic Bitcoin strategy, and they will. The White House has come out and clearly said that Bitcoin is digital gold. By the way, that is a BlackRock talking point, right? So it's quite a remarkable bill. And again, strategically, this is powerful because all these other adversaries have been acquiring gold, thinking that gold is going to be the thing that takes over and we're going to go back to gold and stabilize our currencies. The White House already told you that Bitcoin is digital gold. So now what happens? And by the way, in a no-cost way to the taxpayer, how easy would it be for the United States to dump its entire gold position, simultaneously buy Bitcoin, and simultaneously rug pull all of China's gold reserves? All of that time that China has spent acquiring gold goes down the pan the second the US says gold is no longer a monetary asset. By the way, China's made this mistake before because the moment that they went on to silver as money, the world moved on to gold, right? So this has happened before. It's an instant rug pull, and they're now playing catch up to what's going on with the US. The key thing here is how fast and hard does the US acquire Bitcoin to put into that fund? Because right now, you can say that MSTR is actually a bigger holder of Bitcoin than the US government. And they're not going to like that. They're going to want to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. And as long as they do it in a no-cost way to the taxpayer, who's complaining, right? And eventually what will happen, so now this is done. Remarkable bill. Again, congratulations to every single person that has been involved. Congratulations as a Brit. Congratulations to every single American citizen. Even if you don't understand, you are one of those certified morons, you will benefit from this in the future, and it is being done for you, right? Despite your complete and utter ignorance to the fact of what's going on here. So, remarkable bill. I really love the separation of the strategic Bitcoin reserve and the shitcoin stockpile. It's very, very important that that happened. And again, a complete and utter strategic move by the USA here to set up a world where if anyone gets a bit too cute with their gold pile, they can instantly they can have be cut off by the knees just by simply demonetizing gold as an international asset and moving straight to Bitcoin. And by the way, what else can you sell off? Sell off old unused government buildings. You can sell off any unused government assets, any savings from anywhere else in the what the work that Doge is doing, that Elon Musk is doing, can now be put into the strategic Bitcoin reserve, etc., etc. Then and now the ball really gets handed off to Senator Loomis, who is out here passing a bill through Congress. Then this becomes an act of Congress, right? Which is much more permanent than an executive order, to then buy 1 million Bitcoin, print money, raise money, and buy 1 million Bitcoin. But you need an act of Congress to do that. So now the ball gets handed over to her. This gets going. We buy 40, 50, 60 billion dollars worth of Bitcoin through this executive order. And in the meantime, that bill can go through Congress. And by the way, it's going to go through Congress smoother than anything you've ever seen in your life. You know why? Because BlackRock funds Congress. This is how the game works. Let's just face it. You really think these Congress people are sitting here going, oh, I just became a genius on Bitcoin. I completely understand Bitcoin. No, like I've said many, many times on many, many videos, the money makers are here. The money managers are here. The investment guys are here. This is our world now. This is the world of the people that have been in real estate, that have taken the real estate market from $50 trillion worldwide to $330 trillion worldwide. This is the equities boys. This is the bond market. This is who's here now. You've got ways to stabilize the market now by using a function of MSTR in the market as well. So this is what's happening here. Now, the key things that are going on here that I want to talk about in the next few videos, which is why it's very important that you subscribe and follow the channel, because we're going to be going hard and fast here because the games have changed now. Like I've been saying for 1.5 years, the games have changed. Why I went absolutely balls to the wall as hard and fast as possible and getting people to 1 Bitcoin is because this was going to happen. I'm not a fortune teller. I just understand how TradFi markets work. This was absolutely going to happen. It's absolutely not a surprise to me. The speed is a surprise to me, right? I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2024, 2025, but it's happened. So we're about to go through a phase shift moment here. And I also think that the cycles have changed. There's a couple of conversations that I want to have in future videos. The cycles, I believe, have changed. I no longer subscribe to the 4-year cycle. I think that it's changed. There's a couple things that I will be wrong if some things happen, and if some things don't happen, then I'll be right. So I want to talk about that, so subscribe to the channel for that. The second thing I want to talk about, which is very important, that Bitcoiners and Bitcoin OGs don't really talk about, is the income side of it. The only way that these people that have been in Bitcoin for a while, have never done anything else, and just like to read the news, don't understand is that income is very important. If the game is to hodl Bitcoin as long as possible, you need to be able to do that. And the only way you do that without selling down the Bitcoin to pay for your living expenses is by having income opportunities. Those income opportunities are now here. And again, this is nothing new. If you've been watching my videos, you know I've been talking about this for 1.5 years. They're coming and they're now here. So we're going to talk about that. So subscribe to the channel for that. But ultimately, despite the strategic Bitcoin reserve, despite the shitcoin stockpile feeder fund that's been created for the strategic Bitcoin reserve, there are always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.